I've got a gentleman that's in the middle of nowhere, unsure if he's potentially lost consciousness. We're working off of eastings and northings at the moment.
What happens if you have a medical emergency in one of the most remote parts of Europe?
Ambulance service, whereabouts in Scotland is the emergency?
Stolen out, potentially severed his arm.
Glencoe Mountain Resort Ski Centre. There's blood pouring out a mouth.
It's in the middle of a field at Loch Ness.
Challenges we've got in Scotland are unique. It's a massive landmass to cover. Finding trauma patients is like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
There's no nearby road. It's not vehicular and accessible.
A pioneering new service, the Scottish Trauma Network, is rising to the challenge.
He's a confirmed head injury with loss of consciousness. We're looking for patients who have sustained trauma, who are seriously unwell.
End call.
Emergency call, trauma team by road.
I'm going to task you by air.
Bringing the hospital to the hillside.
We are on scene attempting a land-on, over.
It's almost like the patient is coming to a hospital, but it's just a small square on a hillside.
It's amazing what they can do in the middle of a field.
We'll see the decisions that are made by this elite network of clinicians, expert call handlers, and specialist lifesavers.
Ready, brace, move.
Combined under one new super service.
The patients are being brought to the hospital having had these extraordinary treatments delivered in the field, did not previously survive.
We're on the rooftop of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Glasgow.
Now we are going to see survivors.
Ian's motto for life was, get out there and do it. Live life to the full. Life's too short. He was always flying. The freedom, I think, of being up in the skies, being able to go where you want, in amongst the clouds, like something out of World War II, you know.
Ian's a very experienced pilot. He's got a background in aerobatics. We both own and share the airplane that Ian was flying on the day. And because it's an old, historic airplane, it always needs someone else to be there to start the other person up. I started him up and watched him taxi out before his flight. Just literally 2 or 3 minutes after he'd taken off. And I was just getting into my car to go home when my mobile phone rang and Ian Bright came up as the caller. So I knew immediately something was wrong. The whole front end of the airplane from the seat forward was lying several meters distant. So the airplane was completely smashed. He had a complete engine failure just on takeoff. They immediately dialed the emergency services.
Special Services Desk, Stephen speaking.
Right, we need an ambulance here. There's been an airplane crash. The accident's just happened in the last 5 minutes. We're on the airstrip. I'm a doctor.
Okay, sorry. And what's the patient's name, please, doctor?
It's Ian Bright.
Right.
Climb out there after we ejected.
Right.
A possible fracture disc of his left ankle.
Did you get that, Stephen? It's GCS 14, head injury, open ankle fracture.
Yeah. It's not often we get a plane crash. For that, you would automatically task the police and the fire because the seriousness of it, because it could have been a high-speed impact. We don't know how high it was in takeoff and when it crashed.
Now, we will be with you just as quickly as we can.
The plane has crashed near Elgin in Moray, but the crash site is 60 miles from the nearest major trauma centre in Aberdeen, and the pilot, Ian Bright, has multiple injuries.
Hello, it's Andy, North Trauma Team.
There is what's reported as an air crash near Elgin.
Hems call, yep, 1 casualty.
Based in Aberdeen, Helimed 79 is one of Scotland's 2 charity air ambulances. Vital links in the new Scottish trauma network.
Pilot is extricated and can breathing. It was a crash on takeoff, over.
This is the fastest way to get injured pilot Ian to a major trauma centre.
It's quite unusual to be called out to a plane crash. The first things that tend to go through your mind are the where, the when, the how. So are the fire brigade needed? Is the Coast Guard required? And get mobile as quickly as possible.
Straight to Aberdeen.
They can go straight direct to Aberdeen and get the proper care quicker. Red response. There is every chance the patient could deteriorate very rapidly if there was a loss of blood internally that was unseen, or there might be injuries that's not been noticed.
It's one of those phone calls you don't want to hear. Your stomach feels horrible, your heart starts to race. You think the worst, and then you hope for the best.
3253, this is Trauma Desk, are you receiving? Over.
5,999 calls are made across Scotland each day.
It's a guy that's got his hand trapped, that the fingers are detached, over.
On the major trauma desk in Glasgow, clinicians listen in to critical calls.
Quite a few motorbike crashes. There's a lot of people hill walking.
3 people in a dinghy, washed out to sea, Coast Guard helicopter.
They can task elite medical teams to assist.
Please, can they go and pick the team up? He definitely requires team, thank you.
Scores on the doors, it's been a busy day.
Ambulance emergency. What's the address of the emergency?
We're in the farm, north of Casfern.
Okay, tell me exactly what's happened.
Overturned dumper truck.
So did it fall on top of them?
It fell on top of him. He's underneath the dumper truck.
Carsfern is a village in rural Dumfriesshire, 60 miles southwest of the nearest major trauma centre at Glasgow's Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
Yes, stand by at the moment. I believe she is currently listening into the call just now.
We're moving the dumper truck now with a digger.
Is the patient breathing?
Is he breathing? Yes.
Is he awake?
No. But we need an ambulance now. He's in very bad way.
Okay, so I'm organising help for you now. What are his injuries at the moment?
Very, very crushed leg.
Crushed leg.
The leg is a big concern.
Just keep an eye out for the ambulance to come in, and we will be there as soon as we can.
Agricultural jobs are almost an automatic send. The machinery that they use tends not to be very forgiving. Horrific trauma. Carsfern's in the middle of nowhere.
Carsfern.
That's a huge transfer, and I think it's right to send Helimed from miles and miles away, and key is the potential to deteriorate.
There are a few taskings in just now. It's a bit crazy here on their side just now.
Both Glasgow-based trauma teams covering the south and west of Scotland are busy on other jobs. The Glasgow Air Ambulance has taken 1 team to Stirlingshire. Meanwhile, a Coast Guard helicopter has collected the 2nd team and is en route to Argyll.
We just don't have any sort of trauma teams or advanced paramedics left in the west. Can't keep up. I can't keep up. There's a lot going on. On the jobs where you know that the teams will make a real difference to these patients, it's like time stops. They just can't get there fast enough.
Helimed 5 is now making its final approach to Glasgow's Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
Gamma Helimed 5, that's us landed back at the QE.
The trauma team, led by consultant Dr. Neil McMahon, must deliver their patient to resus before taking on another job.
As long as Neil's happy, they can lift from their current location and go straight to Carsfairn.
Is the team ready? Are they ready to go with them? Or?
No, I think Neil's still in the department. Oh, hi, mate. I'm really sorry, but I'm going to task you to Carsfairn, which is just outside of Ayr. You're a good lad. Thanks very much. Bye, I've no lunch today.
We'll get going as quickly as possible. Medically, you've got the capability to just go straight to this one.
Neil McMahon's running up to the roof, and I think they're pretty much all good to go.
West Ham, and all call signs attending in St Carsfairn. This is trauma team. We're about to lift from the Queen Elizabeth heli deck. Estimated flight time on Airborne to scene is 19 minutes over.
Yes, that's all received, thanks.
Hang on a wee minute.
Clock kicked off.
It's been a busy 3 hours.
A local ambulance is already en route to tend to the 41-year-old man crushed by a dumper truck. Even by air, the specialist trauma team are a 20-minute flight away.
That is part of the beauty of Scotland, is this remote, wild landscape, and it's amazing. But along with that comes the potential that if you then need help in a hurry, that help is much more difficult to access. I've just sent Neil back out as well.
What's he gone to?
This is a guy who's been squashed by a dumper truck.
So crushed by a digger probably doesn't engender happy minor injuries. You think several tons of agricultural equipment on top of a person, that's not compatible with life.
Only 2 minutes from being overhead your location, over.
(7-9) from SSD. The crew are still showing on scene. It's just I need to check to see if they have actually left.
At the desk in Glasgow, Stephen and Tam monitor the progress of the Aberdeen-based trauma team.
Heli 79, 1740, Aberdeen Royal, red response. Yeah, they're looking to lift in 15 minutes, 25-minute flying time.
The team have been attending to 55-year-old Ian Bright, an amateur pilot whose vintage plane has crashed on takeoff.
Helimed 79, Helimed 79. We have left scene.
At the major trauma centre in Aberdeen, emergency medicine consultant Dr. Katarina Hartman is being briefed by the incoming trauma team.
So it crashed on takeoff, but no fire. Okay.
When the phone call came through, my first reaction was to just go, what?
I've not seen any of those before.
So the first thoughts is to think about what caused the crash, things like fire, and then also how long was the patient trapped.
7-9 just approaching Aberdeen Royal.
Took off. He thinks he got to about 100 feet, and then some sort of engine failure. But so yeah, 100 feet, so that's 10 stories. So if you were to fall from a building 10-story height, then no one survives that.
Right, 7-9 landed and they handed over their patient with the trauma team.
When you hear the news, it's horrible. My brain's always overthinking, so you then start to think, how bad is it going to be? And that goes through your head, how many injuries is he going to have?
Complaining of pain in the right upper quadrant, right lower chest. He's got a few facial injuries there. He's got a compound fracture posteriorly of the left ankle.
And then I had to phone the family. So yeah, it was tough, trying to tell your kids that their father's been in an accident. It's horrible.
Very painful.
Ian, there's a whole bunch of us looking after you. All right.
What's happened to me?
So Ian, you've been in a crash. He's quite confused, but that ankle needs reduction. And we will be giving you some more pain relief as we go as well.
Ah! Right leg. Right leg is forward, yeah. Right leg is forward.
Obviously worried about the ankle that's deformed and want to reduce that into alignment.
Well done. You're doing well.
That's a real urgency because the blood supply is cut off.
I know.
We need to address that in the first instance, but then have time to really look at exactly what the injuries are and what we need to deal with then.
Well done. You're doing really well, Ian.
It's only once the CT scan has been taken that the full picture of Ian's injuries will be known.
And then with any fall from height, worry about back injuries. Don't have imaging yet, so not exactly sure what the extent of those are, but I think with the best will in the world, life is going to be different.
In rural Dumfriesshire, the trauma team are landing to attend to a 41-year-old man crushed by a dumper truck.
They've just arrived on scene.
Just watch your feet, it's uneven and there's cow shit.
The ambulance crew is already on scene, and a digger has been used to lift the dumper truck off the injured man.
What's this gentleman's name? Is it Max?
Max.
Max, my name's Neil, I'm one of the doctors with the ambulance service.
Me and Max run a plant hire business, and on the day of the accident, I was in the kitchen when Greg phoned me and told me that Max had had an accident. Yeah, I won't forget that. Greg's voice was quite shaky and he sounded quite panicked, which obviously made me panic but the big machines, like some of them weigh 15, 20 ton, so you can do quite a lot of damage.
Okay, and pain score now after 20 of morphine?
He's been tolerating it quite well. He's not been screaming even when we first got down here.
This gentleman's femur fracture was obvious from looking at it. The only way his leg could have got into that shape and position is if the femur's no longer intact in at least one place. Max, can you feel me touching your foot?
Yeah.
Apart from your leg, are you sore anywhere else?
No, sorry, no.
Okay. Do you remember everything that happened?
Yes.
Sadly. It's of no surprise to you that you've got an injury to your leg there and it's damaged the bone. A couple of things that we need to do to protect the bone and the blood supply to it is to straighten it.
Yeah.
However, the days of getting you to bite on a stick have gone.
Right.
So what we will do is we'll give you some different medicine through the drip that will make you sleepy and get your leg straight. I'm also going to numb the nerve to your thigh with a local anaesthetic injection.
It was just horrible because he was, well, obviously really badly injured. Yeah, it was, just shocking, really, from all aspects.
Are you the other half?
Yes.
So the most important thing is to get this leg straight and stop some of this bleeding.
You think the worst because you don't really know what to expect. Is he going to be able to walk again? What's going to happen to the business and the kids? How the kids going to react to it? I don't know. I think I was just trying to calm him and tell him that it was all going to be okay. I think because I knew that the medics were on it. Like there's cannulas in both of his arms and like 5 or 6 people around him. It's amazing what they can do in the middle of a field.
It's almost like the patient is coming to a hospital, but it's just a small square on a hillside, and that is the hospital for that patient. You've brought the critical care that would normally start in hospital actually to the patient.
Neil uses an ultrasound to scan for hidden injuries and to identify any internal bleeding the dumper truck crush has caused.
We can now have portable handheld ultrasound machines that do the same things as they would in a hospital environment, but again bringing that hospital to the patient. So we can search for evidence of bleeding, we can check whether you've got a collapsed lung by ultrasound in your chest, and we can identify blood vessels. That entire leg may be deprived of blood supply. And ultimately the patient could lose their leg or even their life.
In Aberdeen's major trauma centre, the medical team have been waiting on the results of plane crash survivor Ian's CT scan.
How are you feeling? Rubbish. I'm not surprised. So we're just going out here and then to the right.
These results give consultant Dr. Katarina Hartmann a clear view of his injuries.
He had some right-sided chest tenderness, and on the scan, he's got a tiny amount of free fluid, but not anything that sort of seems like an active liver laceration. Both his heel bone and the talus, which is the bone between your ankle joint, one of the foot bones, so that's fractured.
Ian has some liver damage and has broken both ankles. But the scan has revealed something even more serious.
We're obviously worried about the spinal fracture, and that's the vertebra that's broken. I guess if you think of what the actual trauma was, so it's a bit like someone jumping from a height, as if you've done a heavy landing. In the spinal fracture, it's the same thing. It's this burst fracture, as if the whole thing is compressed. We need to make sure that nothing gets worse from where it is. You used to be in the RAF?
Yeah, I am.
Still? Oh, so is this the worst crash you've ever had in a plane?
It's the only crash I've ever had. Bloody idiot.
These things happen.
I do remember crawling from the wreckage, actually.
Okay.
Remember difficulty undoing the straps.
Right. Your wife, I think, was naturally quite shaken by the whole story of this.
I met Ian at Dundee College. The first time I met him, I went to his bedroom and it had all these planes hanging down. I knew that, you know, this lad likes planes. He was always outgoing, sociable. We were always, doing things together. Did a lot of flying. He would take me away to Orkney, land in a pub and have nice food and fly back. I know, having been in a plane with him, he always was a safe pilot with lots of experience. But as a wife, though, as a partner, that still doesn't mean you don't worry.
Can you bring your toes up towards yourself?
No.
We knew his injuries were quite extensive. A lot of broken bones. Both ankles were damaged. And he had got some spinal injury. And there was some form of bleeding, sort of in his abdomen.
It is so hard to be a relative of someone who's severely injured, because nobody knows what they are going to be like at the end of that. Now, a lot of these injuries, we really will have to see how things change and develop, and so still quite a bit to figure out.
Sure.
We want to get you to the eye dependence unit to keep a close eye on you. It may be that he actually has lasting injuries as a result of this. We don't really know yet what that recovery is going to be like.
Even though the plane was in bits, he survived, but is he going to be paralysed? For Ian, it would just be devastation, I think.
It's only with time that the full consequences of Ian's spinal injury will become clear.
There's about 6 or 7 calls coming from Mary Hill. It was a head-on collision with a car and a van.
Back in Glasgow at the major trauma desk, calls from all over the country continued to be assessed.
Ambulance service, what's the address of the emergency?
Can I have an ambulance straight away, please? I'm at the Parkhead retail park, the roundabout. Someone's just been crushed right under a car. It's a young school girl. She's in secondary school, she's got secondary school uniform on.
There's 2 calls coming in for a 12-year-old hit by a car in Parkhead. Do you want the extension number just to listen into the call? 6010, 6010.
Is there any obvious injuries?
I've heard obviously all I can see. I think this man's going to reverse it back over this child. Oh no, no, trying to reverse this. People surrounding the center with this car. Oh my God.
In Glasgow, a 12-year-old schoolgirl has been knocked down and dragged under a car.
They've got her out to the car now, they're sitting her down.
Members of the public have been able to lift the vehicle and free her.
Is there any obvious injuries?
I've heard obviously all I can see.
Is there any serious bleeding?
It's off her head.
The accident is just 8 miles from Glasgow's major trauma centre.
It's really important to be able to understand how difficult head injuries can be to make a decision on. It can sometimes be life or death decision that you're making. And it's really important to look at the geography of Scotland and decide, will that person benefit from a trauma team, or will the ambulance crew just be better to take them to the local hospital as quickly as possible?
The nearest trauma team are a 20-minute drive away.
And 828 has a Motherwell PRU 1 minute away.
Instead, a local ambulance is identified as the fastest option.
There's serious bleeding, she's not completely alert, and she has a head injury.
At the Royal Hospital for Sick Children, a trauma team assembles.
ETA 15 minutes.
Taking the lead is consultant in paediatric emergency medicine, Dr. Vince Chowdhury.
Children with head injuries, we will see maybe 20 or 30 a day in the Children's Hospital. And it's one of the biggest causes of death in children with trauma.
They've actually just arrived.
This is Mariette. She is 12-year-old. She was crossing a busy road at a roundabout and was hit by a car. She was trapped underneath for about 2 minutes, and then public kind of lifted the car and managed to get her out.
Mariette has been knocked over, dragged under a vehicle and crushed by that vehicle. She may have multiple organ injuries, multiple skeletal injuries. She has an obvious head injury.
Hello. I'm Vince Marlow, one of the doctors. I think you saw just now. Your back. What about your head?
Mariette, take a big deep breath in for me. And out. Again.
As Vince makes an assessment of Mariette's injuries, her mother, Bintu, arrives at her bedside.
Hi, Mummy. Oh. You saw?
Not there, but yeah.
Please. You okay? Be strong, okay? You'll be fine. Don't cry. Stay strong. I'm a single mom of 5. So naturally, I've got 3 children. Mariette is the second one. The other 2, they're from my late sister. She passed away and I'm keeping them.
Did you say you've got 4 brothers and sisters at home?
Yeah.
Strong young lady, made of tough stuff.
Mariette, she's a quiet, easygoing child, very understanding, intelligent. I don't want to say it, she's the best, but she's a good child. You're doing well. Everywhere. I know. And that day of the accident, I was at work and Mariette rang me. She says, Mama, you have to come. I got knocked down by a car. I just tell her, stay on the phone, I'm coming. Mama, where are you? Mama, please come. She was panic, I think, seeing the police, the ambulance. There was 3 ambulances at a time. I heard you were under the car for a couple of minutes. It was really, really bad. It was scary. There's blood running on her face, and there was a deep hole, bruises everywhere. Uniform was all damaged. 2 guys told me, we thought your daughter is dead. She was very, very lucky. For my daughter to be knocked down on the road was the scariest moment in my life.
Hello, Mariette's mum. I'm Vince. I'm the doctor that's helped look after her. There's an X-ray of her chest. There's nothing broken or anything. She's obviously got all these abrasions. She's got quite a nasty wound to her head. So we're just about to go to CT. Cheers. You know what a CT scanner is? No? It's like a special X-ray machine. We're going to go up in the lift and take the picture so we can have a look at your head. All right, let's go. We'll soon come back.
So in the trauma situation, CT scan is king. There is a big risk of hidden injury here.
Sounding a bit like a washing machine, that's at taking all the detailed pictures of your head. So the most important thing you can do for us is just keep lovely and still.
What we're looking for is bleeding inside the head, because that may need an urgent operation by a neurosurgeon.
Mariette, take a couple of big deep breaths in and out for me.
That's all finished.
Patients that have been pulled under the wheels of a car, a van or a bus and then dragged along the road, there are usually much more serious, more multiple injuries. I'm really worried about what the potential problems are that she's facing.
In Dumfriesshire, consultant Neil is preparing to straighten Max's leg after it was crushed under a dumper truck.
So, Richard, can I get the drug bag over, please? We carry drugs that paramedics don't, and we can use that as part of our toolkit to manage those patients and their injuries. Max? Yeah. I'm going to do this injection in your top of your thigh where my left hand is. It might feel a bit warm, it might feel a bit stingy. That's local anaesthetic. So a needle coming in there. One of the treatments of a femoral fracture is to block the femoral nerve and stop pain. That's the first bit done. That feel okay? Yeah.
Along with the nerve block, Neil prepares to give Max ketamine.
Pre-hospital sedation has a number of benefits. It allows us to usually perform a procedure that wouldn't be tolerated if the patient was fully conscious. Also minimise the damage that fracture is going to cause them. I'm about to give him some sleepy stuff. He might go a bit weird with it. That's normal, that's what I want. I want him to be spaced out, and that means he won't know what we're doing to his leg. What I want is to give you enough stuff that you're not unhappy with what we're doing to your leg. Okay.
Ketamine is a very strong pain relief, but it's also a sedative, so the more you give, you can actually anaesthetise the patient. It's a very good drug, it's also a very dangerous drug.
You happy with the numbers, Rich?
Yeah, absolutely. Saturating 100% on that O2.
So that's actually going to start to feel a wee bit funny just now, Max, all right? Good to go. Give it a shot, see how we go. To pull that straight and stop the bleeding is going to cause some discomfort, to say the least. With a fractured femur, one of the ways of minimising blood loss is to apply a splint, but with traction, so you need to pull the leg out to length. Okay, ready, set, roll. Needs to come north. Yeah, that's ready.
Push it. There
we go, we're in.
With his leg now supported by a splint, Max starts to come round.
Oh yeah, pal, how you doing?
Oh, living the dream, mate.
Good man, good man.
So that's your leg now straight, and it's got a splint holding it, even though it doesn't feel that much.
That's straight already.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Your big toes have said hello to each other for the first time in a while.
Jesus. That was quite enjoyable. I was like fucking rolling and rolling.
It's now a good time for a customer satisfaction survey.
Right.
It actually lightened the atmosphere a bit because he was making jokes, and so the paramedics were laughing, and I was like, wow, just had a 9-ton dumper land on the back of your leg.
You did the best job possible.
That leg's now in a good position.
Right, okay.
I'm going to take you back to Glasgow. I'm going to take you to Queen Elizabeth.
Get it your job, I'll give you that.
Everybody okay? SSD update and plan from scene. So that's us just loading the aircraft with a 41-year-old male dump truck rollover with crush, but appears to be isolated femoral injury. Going to the Queen Elizabeth because of potential vascular injury.
Yes, that's all received. I'll speak to the guys at Queen Elizabeth. Thank you for the update.
Max's leg has been straightened, but only at the major trauma centre in Glasgow, a 17-minute flight away, will doctors be able to establish the full extent of the bleeding the crush has caused.
No blood supply to any tissue for a prolonged period or any organ is not going to be good. All the tissues of that leg that are not getting vital blood supply will start to come to harm over a period of time.
Like a star, thumbs up, okay. Bend your arm up and down, is that all right?
12-year-old Mariette has sustained multiple injuries after being dragged and trapped under a car.
Wiggle your toes. Excellent. This is all the swelling and bruising that she's got.
The medical team have been waiting on the CT scan of her head.
Right. So the CT of her head is okay. There's nothing, no major broken bones, no blood or anything inside the skull or inside around the brain, which is what we're most worried about with these sorts of injuries. But she's got a lot of swelling and a very nasty cut. So I just want you to keep your head nice and still for me, all right? And then we'll have a look at this cut. Do you want to sit up a wee bit? A wee bit. We'll do a wee bit first, all right? So we'll just lift this up slightly. Oh, I just did it. How does that feel? It's very, very deep and goes down. The skin has come away from the side of the skull, so they'll be wanting to wash that out properly and explore it in theatre under anaesthetic. They might think about doing things like skin grafts or if there's significant tissue loss to cover it up. I know. I'm sorry. It's just because there's a big scrape there and a cut. Just cold, salty water, all right?
Well done, honey. You're doing a great job.
When I want to cross the road with my children, I'm always holding them, their hands. I'll tell, even when there are 5 of us walking on the road, I'll tell the older one, join, and then we cross in them. I will never let one walk behind, no, never. As I said, I didn't. Seeing her in pains, crying, it wasn't a good feeling. It was hard for me to see my daughter going through what she was going through. She's worried about the scar. That's the difficult one.
The first thing she asked me when I was talking to her was, what will it look like when it heals? So obviously it's really important to her.
The doctors now prepare Mariette for surgery to try to limit the scarring to her face. In Aberdeen, plane crash survivor Ian is 1 week into his recovery after his light aircraft fell from over 100 feet on takeoff.
I had 2 broken ankles, internal bleeding due to a damaged liver, broken ribs, 2 broken vertebrae. I do quite a bit of outdoor activities, and yeah, I would hate to lose any mobility.
Ian's spinal injury has caused most concern. He now faces a long and uncertain recovery.
I'm here to fit this spinal brace, give you a little bit of support to your back, shoulder strap, so it's a bit like a backpack, and then this part in the front. And then we'll get you to roll back again for us.
So today we're going to work with the orthotist and then to get Ian fitted with a brace. Because he hasn't been out of bed for a week, he hasn't sat upright for that length of time. So we just have to take it slowly, and it's his pace, basically.
See how you feel pain-wise. I'm just gonna. Okay, is it too sore?
No, just keep going.
You sure?
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Take your time. Okay. Are you sure you're okay?
Fine, honestly. Oh, I'm not fine.
Yeah, I know.
When you've got someone like Ian who's so strong and active, reduced to reliant on people feeding him and washing him, when he's almost at his worst and vulnerable, that was tough.
Yes. How's that? Better?
Lower back still killing me.
Yeah.
Been tough. It's been tough for the family, I think, just to watch him.
Ideally, I want him to be walking normally, because that was my main concern, you know, that he wasn't able to use his legs.
The pain is quite significant. But it's a little win, isn't it? Everything you get is one more tick in the box towards walking out these front doors.
In Glasgow, surgeons are preparing to operate on 12-year-old Mariette.
Good morning, Mariette. First of all, how are you feeling?
Sore.
Oh, okay. Do you think I can lift the dressing and have a wee look? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. And obviously, I need to mention the scarring. You're gonna have a visible scar on your forehead. And in your case, I think it is likely, okay?
You'll be fine, okay? My biggest concern about the accident and Mariette is her mental health. She's very, very scared.
I'll take good care of you, okay, darling?
Love you. All you want for her is just play, smile, just think of things that a child will do on a normal day and not to sit and worry.
People, have lots of worries about their children. So I've got a family, I've got kids. So I understand and appreciate that. But children, they get unwell very quickly, but they also improve very quickly as well. You're amazed at how well they cope with things.
Mom, I'm home.
Hi, Mariette.
Hello.
Welcome home. How is school today? Mariette having a scar after the accident, she's coping well with that.
Yeah, I feel better now. What's keeping me positive is everyone looking after me, and I don't have to do much chores anymore.
It's a bit strange seeing him back in the yard, so it is, after so long no seeing him. Better once he's back full working order.
At the end of the day, no matter how frustrated I may feel, it doesn't matter. There's a few inches difference on where that roll bar landed, and it would have been so much worse. Game over. I had about an hour of thinking, oh crap, this was really possibly rather close. And then I fixed it with a stiff drink.
I would say I am the glass is half full kind of guy. If a doctor says I'll never walk again, I will walk. If he says I'll never run again, I'll bloody run again.
We're almost there, but not quite. I would love to be able to go for a walk on a beach with him.
Stop here and just try a little walk.
He walked, you know, he's there with his, walking with his crutches going, yeah, and I'm there going, oh, great. I never thought I'd see him, you know, do that. So it's those little things that just get you through the day, yeah.
See, you're in his crutches, mate. Little victories, everything's a little victory, you know.
No, it's nearly 40 years of his life he's flown. He loves it. It's what makes him him.
I would like to fly again, but only if all the family say it's okay. If the family say, we'd rather you took up darts, do you know what? Whatever they say, because I've had my fun, and I wouldn't want to put them through any of this ever again.
You were looking at them. Sorry. You would be. Too late for that, mate.
He's just fallen through a roof. There's a lot of luck. Tag.
Pin call.